today, at some point, you bought something, maybe a coffee, maybe you just tapped your phone against a machine and walked away without even looking at it. The whole thing took about 3 seconds, no talking, no thinking, no trust required. But that tiny, boring moment is one of the strangest abilities any creature on this planet has ever had. Because no other animal does it. Chimpanzees share food, wolves hunt together, but no animal walks up to a complete stranger, hands over something valuable, and walks away with something else, both sides happy. Humans invented that, and we invented it so long ago that the first deal in history happened before money, before writing, possibly before full human language. So, when was the first deal? And how exactly do you make a deal with no words, no money, with a stranger who might kill you? That's the story in this video, the 300,000-year story of buying and selling. So if stories like this are your thing, subscribing takes exactly 1 second. Our story starts in a dusty basin in southern Kenya called Olorgesailie. In 2018, in the journal Science, a team led by Alison Brooks of George Washington University and Rick Potts of the Smithsonian reported something that shouldn't exist. Stone tools made of obsidian, black volcanic glass, the sharpest natural material on Earth, rare, beautiful, and completely out of place. Because the nearest source of that obsidian was far away, some of it from up to 90 kilometers away, across mountains, through lands patrolled by lions and by other humans. And these tools are around 320,000 years old. That's not just older than money, that's as old as our species itself. So, how did the glass get there? Either those early humans walked for days again and again through hostile territory, or something much more interesting happened. They met other groups, strangers, and instead of fighting, they swapped meat for glass, pigment for glass, a favor for a favor. Scientists call it an exchange network. You can call it what it actually is, the first supply chain. Now, fast forward to around 80,000 years ago, in a cave in Morocco and at Bolombus Cave on the coast of South Africa, archaeologists found tiny sea snail shells with neat little holes drilled through them, polished smooth by wear, some stained with red ochre. Beads, jewelry, and here's the detail that matters. Some were found far inland, a very long walk from any beach. Think about what a bead actually is economically. You can't eat it, you can't hunt with it, it won't keep you warm. Its only function is meaning, status, identity, who you are and who you're connected to. Which makes those little shells the first product in human history whose entire value was a story people agreed on. Sound familiar? A logo is a shell with a hole in it, a luxury handbag is a shell with a hole in it. Your ancestors invented the luxury market while mammoths still walked the earth. Here's where the story gets uncomfortable, because what you were taught about the next step is probably wrong. The textbook version goes like this. First came barter, 10 chickens for 1 goat, and barter was so clumsy that people invented money to fix it. Adam Smith told that story in 1776 in The Wealth of Nations, and it's been repeated ever since. There's just one problem. Anthropologists have spent 200 years looking for that barter village. They never found it. Not one. Cambridge anthropologist Carolyn Humphrey put it bluntly, no example of a barter economy, pure and simple, has ever been described, let alone money emerging from it. So what did people actually run on? Something older? Gifts? And debts. In the Kalahari Desert, the Johonsi people have a system called Huksaru, documented for decades by the anthropologist Polly Wiesner. You give a gift now, a knife, a string of beads, and someday, maybe years later, your partner gives something back. But the stuff was never the point. The point is the relationship. Huksaru partners are scattered across hundreds of kilometers of deserts, so when your waterhole dries up, somewhere out there, someone owes you. That's not primitive economics, that's insurance, and every deal you have ever made still runs on the same silent engine. I do this for you now, you remember. But gifts only work between people who know each other. What about total strangers? 2,500 years ago, the Greek historian Herodotus described how Carthaginian sailors traded with tribes on the coast of West Africa without a single word. The Carthaginians unload their goods on the beach, set up a smoke signal, and pull back to their ships. The locals come down, look over the goods, place gold on the sand next to them, and withdraw. Now the sailors return enough gold, they take it and sail away. Not enough, they retreat again and wait for the pile to grow. No one speaks, no one gets close to the other side. Historians call it silent trade. But look at what's inside it. An offer, a counteroffer, a negotiation, a closing. Every single part of a modern deal running purely on trust between two groups who couldn't say one word to each other. Trust was the technology, it still is. Then humans settled down, built villages, and the deals got too big to remember. So, around 9,000 years ago, in Mesopotamia, people started shipping small clay tokens. A cone meant grain, a cylinder meant an animal. The archaeologist Denise Smant Besserat spent her career proving what these humble lumps of clay really were. Accounting, receipts, IOUs. By around 5,000 years ago, in the city of Uruk, people were sealing these tokens inside clay envelopes and pressing marks on the outside to show what was within. And then someone realized the marks alone were enough. That is cuneiform, the world's first writing. Read that again. Writing. The thing every book, every law, every message you've ever sent is built on. Was not invented for poetry, it wasn't invented for prayer or for kings. It was invented by accountants to track deals. In fact, the first named human being in recorded history isn't a king or a warrior. He was a bookkeeper in Uruk, signing receipts for barley. His name was Cushan. The oldest sentence humanity ever wrote down is basically an invoice. So look at the full arc because it's your inheritance. A piece of volcanic glass crosses 90 kilometers of savanna hand to hand. A seashell becomes the first brand. Gifts become debts. Debts demand memory. Memory becomes clay. Clay becomes writing. Writing becomes contracts, and contracts build cities. Selling was never just a job humans invented along the way. It's closer to the reason there are cities and laws and writing at all. Every skyscraper is a stack of deals. And the next time you tap your phone and walk off with a coffee, 3 seconds, no words, complete trust in a stranger, remember what that really is. That is the closing of a 300,000-year negotiation. Your ancestors opened it with a piece of black glass on the edge of a savanna. You close it a dozen times a day without even noticing. Sit with that for a moment. If this story itched your brain, the next one goes deeper. What people actually used before money existed. And no, it wasn't barter. Subscribe so you don't miss it. It costs you nothing. Your ancestors paid in gold.